Hey, what's up YouTube? This is iFonemodder here today, and I'm going to be showing you guys the new Google Maps app that has been released for iOS devices. And many of you guys know that Apple's maps that were released in iOS 6 have had many issues and many people have been complaining about it. So as a result, Google released a version of their Maps app in the App Store. And thankfully, I haven't actually upgraded to iOS 6, so I haven't fully experienced the Apple Maps, but I have used it. So I'm not going to be able to actually give you guys a full comparison between the two, that being the Google Maps app that has been released in the App Store and the Apple's Maps app. But I'm going to try to do my best to review the Google Maps app so then you guys can compare it yourself. So let's get started. So once you open up the map, you're pretty much just given a view of what you would expect. Right here I'm on Los Angeles, California, and if I want I can get a route by clicking right here, and then it can let me choose my starting point. And my one that I have saved right now is my location, which I'm not going to do right now because I'll show you guys that later. You can use driving directions, transit, or walking. I believe that transit and walking are not available on the Apple Maps, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So in my opinion, that's a very positive side to this Maps app, because those are very important in the things that I use Maps for, because I'm not always driving around. I might be taking a bus or I might be walking somewhere. So once we go back to the map screen, we can see that there's a little tab right here. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but once you pull out the tab, you can see that you can see traffic, and obviously LA should have a pretty good amount of traffic here. And it looks like it's actually pretty clear right now. And then you can view public transit, which gives you all the transit directions, but since I'm not zoomed in correctly, it's not going to give me transit of everywhere. I have to zoom in on a particular location. And also you can go down to satellite view, which is right here, and it gives you just what you would expect, a satellite view of the Earth. So you can just look at, zoom in on your house, zoom in on people, zoom in on cars and whatnot, just like you would on Google Earth. And also down here, there's a little button that kind of switches over to Google Earth, and I'm not exactly sure as to why they included this because I find it rather unnecessary. But if I do that, it's going to go over to Google Earth because I already have the app downloaded on my phone, but we're not going to do that right now. So some other cool stuff that this app lets you do is if you scroll up here, it gives you some options that you can do right here with the city or whatever location you're selected on. So I can do save, share, and then also a route and street view. That is something that I know for sure is not available on the Apple Maps. So if I go into landscape mode, I can pan around on street view right here and just go around as I wish. Also, cool little feature here, if you click the bottom left hand button, you can use the gyroscope and it'll let you move around, and then you can kind of view the street as if you were there. I think that's a pretty cool thing. It looks like it's a little window into the world of your phone. Alright, I'm going to go back here and take you guys through the rest of the stuff. Alright guys, so now I'm in San Francisco and I just want to give you guys a different perspective from different cities. And as you can see here, I can kind of spin around and there is some minor lag. I am going to acknowledge that. And you can see that there is some traffic around here and it shows you live traffic updates, which I think is a lot better than the iOS app. So one issue that I have with this app is I feel like it's more of an app, if that makes any sense. What I mean is that if you look into apps that are actually built into the OS, such as stocks, maps, weather, notes, calculator, etc., I feel like they work a lot more fluidly. And I'm basically comparing this to the Google Maps that I'm using, because Google Maps actually, in my opinion, works a lot more fluidly. It does lack some design changes that are in the new maps, and the good part about the new maps is that they were able to update it and put a lot more features that I'll show you guys next that they aren't actually in this old maps version. For example, this old maps version lacks voice navigation, which I think is a very crucial feature to a good maps app, and that is something that Apple's Maps does indeed have. But then again, I do like the simplicity of the Google Maps app that is built into the OS slightly better, just maybe because I've been using it for years, or also just because it has a search, directions down here, and also just because it gives me option to press down here and it gives me all these plethora of options here that I can choose from, which I find it way more convenient than the other Maps app. Overall, I can definitely see a major difference between this built-in Maps app and the Maps app that I downloaded from the App Store, even though they are both made by Google. I feel as though the original Google Maps app that is built into the OS is more integrated throughout the software, and an example of this that I want to show you guys is through Siri. For example, if I ask Siri, get me directions to San Francisco.
Getting directions to San Francisco.
And as you can see, it gets me directions, and the reason it does that is because this Google Maps app is actually built into the OS and is not a downloaded app. Now, if you have iOS 6, it's going to take you directly to Apple's Maps app, but there is a slight way around this that I'll show you guys right now. So if you are a user of iOS 6, what you're going to want to do is say, Siri, get me transit directions to San Francisco.
Getting directions to San Francisco.
And when I do that, it gives me transit directions. However, Apple's Maps app does not have transit directions. So when you do that, it's going to give you a list of apps that you have that contain the functionality to use transit directions. And if you have the Google Maps app downloaded from the App Store, that is the app that's going to pop up. And then once you go on there, you can change it back to driving directions or walking or whatever you want. So it is kind of a workaround that is kind of annoying, I guess, but it is better than nothing. So that is one choice that you will have to use Siri on the Google Maps app downloaded from the Apple App Store on iOS 6. So now what I'm going to show you guys is actually one of the new features that Google built into this Maps app, and it is voice navigation. Alright guys, so now we're just going to test out the voice to direction functionality here. And I'm just going to find directions to, let's just do a clothing store called Forever 21. And press the direction button, and I think it should, yeah, popped up right here. I'm going to use my current location, and it says it's going to be about 13 minutes, and I'm going to press start. Okay, so now it just gives me a visual.
Head west. And turn right.
Okay, so it's telling me to head west and turn right. So I'm going to start going here, and let's just see what happens. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now it's telling me to turn right. I'm going to start turning right here.
Continue on County Road for 3/4 of a mile.
Alright, I think it's actually working pretty well. It looks like it's finding my current location pretty well. It's telling me exactly where to go and how far as soon as I make the turn. And I'm just going to keep on going here. It might take me a while to go that 3/4 of a mile. So I'm just going to skip forward and let you guys know when it's coming up.
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto the I-80 West ramp to San Francisco.
Alright, so that was the next direction, and I'm going to be turning that left soon, but I've hit a red light. Also, sorry about the bumpiness of the video camera. It's kind of hard to hold on to it as I'm driving, so I'm doing my best to help that out, but if it's a little bit blurry, I'm sorry. Alright, so I'm approaching the left turn, and let's see how long it's going to take for it to give me the signal.
Turn left onto the I-80 West ramp.
Okay, there you go. Alright guys, so as you can see, I'm on the freeway now, so I'm going to shut this off and then give you guys my recap of it after I have arrived. Alright guys, so now that I'm back, I just want to talk about what I thought about that navigation, and to be honest, it was much better than I expected. I did not think it would be able to track my location that precisely, but it would give me a heads up right as I needed it, so I found that very helpful, and there were actually a few things that I did not mention that happened along the way after I shut off the camera. So basically, when I tried to shut off the directions, I would lock my phone, but then I realized even though I locked my phone, the directions would still read to me. This is very odd because it's not a built-in app, so I think that Apple may have actually allowed Google to add in some functionality that they usually wouldn't add in for third-party applications. But basically what happened was that even when I exited the app would still run in the background in such a way that it would still read me the directions. And also, when I would pass a suggested route, it would immediately suggest a different route and put it in very seamlessly, and I wouldn't even notice I was trying to recalculate. It would just seem like it was part of the original route, and I found that very cool. Also, in the lock screen, when it would give me directions, it would pop up notification, so I wouldn't actually have to unlock to see the next thing coming up. In case I missed it hearing it from the audio, it would pop up saying turn right in 15 miles or something like that. And to be honest, I found that very cool and surprising because I didn't think that they would be able to integrate it that thoroughly into the OS. So basically guys, my overall review is that I love this app. To be honest, before this review, when I first opened this app, I was not even considering switching to it because I thought it was a little bit laggy and too slow for my taste. And I already have the original Google Maps app, so I found no need for me to switch. But after this review, and I've been using it a lot for the past month or so, I found that it actually is very helpful and does offer a lot of functionality, such as the voice navigation, that the original Maps does not offer. And I didn't think that voice navigation would be a big deal for me, but when you're driving, it's really annoying to have to keep unlocking your phone, typing in your password, and then reading the next direction. And especially the way that it portrays it, it's a very big font, and it's very intruding, so you can see it even if it's far away. And the audio is very clear and concise and gives me a good delay between the time where I actually have to turn or make a move between the time that it tells me. So I found that very helpful, and to be honest, I would probably give this app a 4.5 out of 5. The only reason I wouldn't give it 100% is just because it can't be fully integrated into the OS, even though they did do a very good job for a third-party app being integrated. Just the Siri integration is not there because it's not their fault, it just can't be because Apple's vertically integrated. But that's something very understandable, and I still think that this is a very very good alternative to Apple Maps and the original Google Maps app. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I know that was kind of a long review, and I know it took me a very long time to do. I just wanted to get you guys the most clear and thorough review that I possibly could. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like this video, please subscribe, and ultimately, have a nice day.